And we are live. Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 83 of Global Citizens. My name is Calvin. I am the show's host, and of course, I am also its creator. So, my guest for today is Mr. Siddharth Sankhe. So, Siddarth has a lot of extensive experience. So, just to let you know, I hope this is just a summary of it because I think I compile it as much as I can because there's so many of it. So, he began his career in research and analytics with Tax 100 research arm, the Beyond Consulting, formerly Context Analytics, where he headed projects delivery for India. So, his passion for the use of research and measurements to impact human lives led him to pursue pro bono consulting projects in South America, West Africa from the year 2013 to 2014. So in the past, also he has accomplished a lot in his distinctive career in data analytics, so as the forefront of pioneering data and analytics solution to the industry's greatest pain points. So in the past, he actually was part of Nielsen, which revolves around merging the science of big data with the art of research. And upon his employment in 2017. And along with that, he was formerly part of Insights and Analytics Division for Waggener Edstrom or WE Communications across Asia Pacific, of which he has led and grown projects across the key industry verticals of technology, healthcare, retail, automotive, finance, and travel. So along with that, these are some of his accomplishments. So he's the top 25 innovators of APAC in homes in 2017, Campaign Asia 40 under 40, and Gati Global 200 CX leaders, and last but definitely not the least, Tiger Hawk influencer. Okay, that is a lot. Okay, Siddharth, I hope I've done enough justice for your introduction.
You, you did more than justice. So
Thank you.
you're just too kind. No, thank you for having me here. It's very refreshing to talk to someone about data analytics and also everything under the sun. So thanks for the opportunity once again. That was a very elaborate introduction. But just to summarize, I'm all things data analytics, insights, and strategy. I have worked in the industry for about 15 years now. A bit of it was corporate, a bit of it was pro bono, a bit of it was teaching. And if there are any questions, you can always connect with me on LinkedIn and obviously route your questions through Calvin as well. So happy to be here once again, and let's get started, Calvin.
All right, all right. Okay, yeah. So, all right. So this is some with all of the three main experiences you mentioned. Yeah, some of it is under corporate, some of it is under pro bono, and some of it is, of course, maybe from your own personal ventures. Yeah, I want you to rank these three things: empathy, intelligence, and immediate profit. Which one do you feel though is most important, and which one do you think need to be the least prioritized in your line of work?
So I think I'll definitely go with the sequence that you started off with. I
Oh,
think I will. Yeah, I'll just simply go with empathy, intelligence, and immediate profit. Empathy is something which is putting yourself in somebody else's shoes, and I think that is very important in any aspect of life that you are taking a journey into. Right. So, for example, in corporate, you are putting yourself into your stakeholder shoes. In say personal or pro bono, you're putting yourself into the recipients or the funder's shoes and understanding issues from their end. And lastly, if you're teaching or if you're mentoring somebody, then you're putting yourself into the shoes of people who are receiving at the receiving end of the mentorship or teaching. So I think that's very important because it's something that it is very priced. We have sort of lost our ways in terms of just going after intelligence and immediate profit and do not understand what really the other person thinks, or the other person or other stakeholder is in a situation of, so to say. So I think it's very important. Then comes intelligence, I would say, because again, it's something that can be worked upon. You can read books, you can get yourself addicted to YouTube and just look at a lot of content and become intelligent. So intelligence will actually drive you to make good decisions. It'll help you make right choices. It'll help you be making the most of the right situations in the right time. And that will result into profits and growth and so on and so forth. So it's not like you have to look at profits first and then look at intelligence. I think profit is a product or a byproduct of being intelligent, or a gain is something which is a byproduct of intelligence. And once you combine it with empathy, what you're giving is yourself a nitro booster. So if you are intelligent and if you're empathetic, you have the perfect combination. If you ask me, so I'm from Maharashtra, and in Marathi there is a very nice quote which says "Vidya Vinay Shobte," which stands for, if you are educated and if you're intelligent, it only serves you well if you have the right amount of kindness and empathy within you. So if it's only intelligence and no empathy, no use. Only empathy without intelligence may be of no use. But if you have intelligence and empathy, then you're looking at a great growth path for yourself and doing good to the larger world as well.
Absolutely. I have a saying also for that. It's called "Don't just have style, have some substance to it." I think the thing is because, well, when you are somebody who are likable, I mean, you attract people. You are able to, well, you are able to draw people to come to you, to be
Right.
able to feel invested in you, to want to invest in you. However, if you do not have the right kind of substance, well, you come off as just somebody who is going to lose that interest over time.
Yeah.
Likewise, if you're somebody who is just incredibly intelligent, however, if you are not able to attract the right kind of attention to you, then you are just somebody whom people push away from. So, yeah, thank you so much for saying that, my friend.
No, thank you for agreeing to it. Okay.
All right. Of course, okay, the next question, I think I may know the answer, but well, I just want to know the reason for your case on this. First one
Okay.
is, which one do you think is more important? And that is either gold or data, and why?
Okay, that's the first time I've heard the comparison between gold and data. I've heard of it in comparison to oil, as the substance. I have two answers to it, if you ask me.
Sure.
One is a very economics point of view. Then in that case, gold is obviously better than data, because in economics is all about demand and supply, and
Right.
as the human beings keep consuming gold, the reserves of gold is going to go down and down, so it's going to become more and more precious. However,
Right.
data is going to be just more and more produced, so it's going to be in abundance, so to say. But if you ask me from a strategic point of view, from a business point of view, I think data is the new gold, I would say, or the new oil. Most of these companies that you see, like say Facebook or Google, and again, they are doing some great work connecting people across the world, bringing you information, but they are not necessarily a social media company, but they are a data company, right? So
Right.
what they sort of collaborate, and what they bring you to the table is a good data platform, right, for your clients, or for businesses to sort of tap into. So yeah, I think data is here to stay. We have always been a data, sort of an economy, in which earlier we had no limited data, but now we are making so much data. I think the sense is to sort of how much of meaningful data can be captured, and how much meaning can be added to the data that is already captured. So if you make data actionable, and if you put some good layers of analysis on it, then it is gold. But if you don't, then it is nothing. So I always say that it's like an oil, right? It's like a petrol pump. It can either fuel your car, or it can help you burn the car as well. So depends on how you use it. So make sure that you are using data correctly.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay, for those of you who just tuned into this platform for the very first time, Global Citizens is an online web stream usually hosted primarily on Saturdays around 11 a.m., 7 GST plus 7, GMT plus 7, sorry, not GST. However, of course, I'm much more flexible as well. Everybody has different timings, different time zones. So, well, we always accommodate to whatever the guest would needed. So the reason for the creation of this platform is to be able to have a voice for global citizens and primarily for third culture kids, so that people understand that intercultural lifestyle is not an extended vacation, it's not an immediate life whereby you are just gonna come in and then the life would look like an Insta story, because that is real life. Everybody sees the real life of it. For one thing, is that different countries have different cultures, and as a result, sometimes we have to change who we are, or in order to be accepted within our host country. And at the same time, it comes as like maybe if you want to call it, there might be a swing. Is because you don't know whether who you have always been, and yet you have to change who you are in order just to be accepted in a new kind of environment. So yeah, along with that, I will continue again with the question. Yeah. So yeah, Siddharth, if you don't mind, please share with us how you first got into this line of work actually. Because the thing is that, well, We know now the data analysis is a really important industry and what people like to call the new normal, because some of the thing that we see now is that especially as a result of pandemic, the digital world becomes the norm nowadays. But we never expected that the data analysis has always been important, but we don't know that its advancement until now. So, yeah, do you mind telling us how you get started with it?
Sure. So how I got started with this is a very funny story, I would say. So I used to enjoy watching the kinds of Sherlock Holmes, kind of series or movies in which there is always, there are some clues that helps you identify either the killer or where the treasure is and whatnot. So that is pretty much what drove me to be more excited around this industry, because this is nothing but helping your company or your clients, pick up those clues to help them succeed in the business. Many a times we help sort of clients understand the reasoning behind why consumers act in a certain way, and that's something that they can capitalize on and create good products or good services or good experiences and so on and so forth. So I think that was the key driver. And yeah, so I was at in my college once, and I went to an ice cream store, and there were three flavors in the ice cream store. One was strawberry, chocolate, and vanilla. And I realized that the chocolate one was the most dug up, and so I asked the person that, is chocolate is what is most sold, and he said yes, it is most sold because and he's like, how do you guess it? Because I said because that is the most carved out tub of ice cream. So and I was like, you know what, this is what I want to do for a living probably. So which is when I started taking market research more seriously. I took up some lessons and paid extra attention when I had these market research lessons, and I started doing my own work in terms of I want to understand consumer behavior. I want to understand how to create a questionnaire and so on and so forth. So that is how I got started with. Over a period of time, I was able to add more and more things like big data analysis. I was able to add social listening as a component as well. Looking at data which is out there. So how can you combine weather information with the consumer insights and so on and so forth. So just an example, the consumption of ice creams in Japan goes up super high when the temperature goes by 2 degrees or 3 degrees and whatnot. So all these consumer elements are something that just make me go like, this is interesting, and that's why I work in this industry. Yeah, the second part of the question was like any tips for people who are joining this industry,
Yeah,
or yeah. No,
yeah,
so I
we can
would say
explore that.
sure, absolutely. So I think definitely I would say we have a curious bend of mind. Data and analysis is a backbone of every decision that you take, right? For example,
Right.
I have a body shop product. This was an outcome of some data analysis in the back. I have a Samsung phone. Everything you have to look around, there has been some data or analysis that has gone behind, either done by the company themselves or either done by an agency for the company. So you have to have a curious mind and ask questions like why, and always keep asking the why question, right? That is one part of it. Secondly, I would say my mom was an arithmetic teacher, and she still teaches, and I was bad at math, to be honest. I would say if you want to get into data analytics, you have to be comfortable with numbers, not necessarily be a math wig, math whiz, so to say. So I would say just be comfortable. Numbers are all around us. Don't be scared of them. As long as you're able to tell a story, numbers is just a way to tell your story, right? So and there are different roles within data as well. You can be a project manager in a data analysis company. You can be a storyteller who sort of combines things. You can be a statistician, a data scientist, and whatnot. So there are multiple layers that you can do as you are in this industry. You have to pick what you're best suited for and just go for it. Yeah, and I would say keep learning. This industry is changing at the speed of light, I would say. There is a new technology, there's a new product, there's a new way of doing analysis every single day, and I think as long as you have your finger on the pulse of the industry, you will do well. So yeah, I think just never stop learning and be curious.
Mm. I think that not only apply to your industry, but actually to life in general, is because, well, a lot of times we actually, I think there was a phrase, I think the one who said it was Sir Elton John. The moment you stop learning, the moment you want to stop learning, you can die. It's
Right.
because the thing is because, well, we have so many things that is, well, even if something that is discovered, there's of course evolution to it. So, but the thing is that if we have never explored it, then, well, the data sorry, yeah, can
Right.
you hear me?
Yeah, now I can. Yeah.
Yeah, sorry about that. Okay. So yeah, but the moment is that the moment you stop exploring, the moment you stop wanting to grow, the moment you stop wanting to learn, well, you do not grow. And as a result, you become stale, and well, it becomes really difficult for you to find a certain a certain target or certain kind of ambition to move forward to, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. I want to add to this, and I think the one thing that has sort of helped me learn more and more things is that I made learning a bit enjoyable. So I mean, if you think learning is going to school or doing some courses and whatnot, I think you're a bit mistaken. Learning is just all around us. There's information all around us. It does matter how we tap into it. And if you're not sure what to learn, pick one interesting thing. Maybe US economy, or say Singapore population, or Indonesian history and whatnot, and just whatever excites you, and just try to learn more and more. And once you start and uncovering a few things, you sort of get addicted to the whole aspect of learning. So pick a topic, learn, get proficient, and move on. Pick a topic. So when I'm eating as well, taking my lunch breaks, I'll have something on YouTube which is about something new, and it just gives me a lot of pleasure knowing something more, something extra. And trust me, one thing I totally agree is that no learning goes waste.
Right.
I have been a disco jockey for a while. I have been a cricketer for a while. I'm learning golf now and whatnot. So learning is always a part of me, and you can always use it in some other way, and it just comes to you naturally. Just have an open mind, and be like a sponge that absorbs things around you, and just be an avid learner, I would say. Yeah.
All right. All right. I love that. I love that. Okay, so I actually want to ask now is that, well, with data analysis now being a key component to most industry, in fact, because you need your consumers' insight in
Right.
order for you to create something, or when you want to move forward to, well, the key in this world is supply and demand, right? And well, you don't know what to supply if you don't know what is the demand. So now I actually want to ask the with let's this is actually great a question that I came up after founding a book by Mr. Ravi Batra. So the question asks on the fall of capitalism, with how everybody now could have immediate access and ownership to, like, for example, if you want to publish a book nowadays, you can just skip the editors, the publishers, is because, well, with the advancement of technology, all of these resources could be available for free or even for a very small amount of price. How do you feel the data analysis could impact several industries in the future?
That's a very deep question, I would say.
Thank you.
I'll try to answer it as broad and at the same time as deep as I can. So if you ask me 20 years ago, right, say 1990s, 1980s, we had just become industrialists, like economies as such, right? So we are producing goods, we are producing products, TVs, refrigerators, and whatnot. At that point of time, the companies would create a product and then expect consumers to buy it, right?
Right.
And there was only one airline, there was only one refrigerator maker, and whatnot. So there are very few players. But over time, as earning capacity went up, as spending capacity also went up, there are more players who came into this market. And then you can't buy two fridges, right? You can only buy one fridge, you can only buy one TV. Now the population is not growing so big, but the competition is growing a lot. So you have a specific set of customers that you have to sell to, right? So there
Right.
are more customers, and there are same amount of customers, but there are more amount of producers. So in this, what happened was, then there was a pull economy that came into place, which means that the customers then started demanding and choosing as to what I want, right? So that one refrigerator or one TV would not cut the deal. So I would want to look at a competition. I would then, even if I'm sitting in India or sitting in US, I have the ability to order from Japan or China or Singapore or wherever. So the world became a global place, and the consumers were still the same, right? Which is when I think companies started to realize that we earlier they had products in the center and everything revolved around it. Now they have to keep the customer in the center, and everything should revolve around it, right? So
Right.
as you, as a person, I want to know, what do you spend your time at? What do you read? How do you consume your data? How do you consume news? How much time do you sleep? How much time do you spend time doing leisure activities and whatnot? So when I understand my consumer segment well, I can create products around it, right? So this is pretty much a democratic way of saying that, the power is now back into the consumer's hands, in the sense, because we have the ability to switch. We have become less tolerant now as a consumer. I remember this example that I was giving at a conference once, was that in 2007, there were 30,000 apps, I think so, on Google Play Store, and in today there are 30,000 apps uploaded every day on Google Store. So in 13 years, this is the, and imagine if you download an app, do you think you can go back to that app again when you have so many apps out there? So you have that one chance. The customers, I mean, the client, the businesses has one chance to do justice to the customer by giving them a service, and if they fail, then the chances of them coming back is very bleak, I would say, right? So which is where I think we have the power, and we can obviously have the right to choose what you want to choose. So this is what companies need to identify, and that's where, if you see the research spending, the analytics spending has gone so up, because everybody wants to understand what does the customer want and how can we best answer their needs. Yeah. Does that answer your question at large?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
It is.
I think it
Thank
was
you. Thank
a
you.
bit more detailed than I thought it to be. So yeah, I think it's a good question, though. I think that is the reason why there is so much hype in this entire data analytics. I mean, I was doing this job 15 years ago as well, in some shape or the form. But that time it was not that sexy, so to say. But now it's sexy because everybody wants to know the answer, and yeah. So I think right place, right time, I would say.
Yeah, yeah. Not to worry. Not to worry. Okay, I'm glad you mentioned earlier on the global world, because the thing is that, as we've earlier discussed, with how pandemic has happened and how it has impacted the world in a global scale, a lot of industries need to adapt in order to survive, right? And because, well, you can't be outside nowadays without wearing a mask. And, well, the thing is that I think nowadays, if let's say we do a data analysis to that, is that okay, let's see which type of mask is the most popular and which one will we need to sell, because, well, in order to turn up a profit. So now I actually just, we definitely will get into that a little bit more on the data aspect to it. But I actually want to ask a little bit of your experience when you actually do work outside of your own passport country, which is India. It was in the year 2013 and 2014, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I actually just want to ask a little bit more on this though. What do you feel about the importance of an intercultural working environment in today's society? And, well, yeah, maybe let's just answer with that first.
Sure. I think that's a very good question, because I love to talk about my experiences in Nigeria and in Guyana, South America. So while I was working in India, I was coordinating a lot with our UK teams and the US team, and I would love, to have these intercultural talks and just understanding about their culture and whatnot. And there was a time when I thought that, what, I need to sort of go and experience, outside of my comfort zone. And then which is when I started applying for, like, pro bono assignments outside of India, and the first country that came across was Nigeria. So Nigeria is a country in West Africa, known to be a bit notorious with a lot of it being in the news. And my parents were a bit like, "You want to go abroad, fine, but this is the only country that you have chosen." And I was like, "Yeah, I mean, it seems okay." But I will tell you, man, like, it was one of the best. It was, if there's one point in my life I would want to go back and relive again, that'll be my time in Nigeria and Guyana. It was so beautiful. So although it was not all full of roses, there was a lot of thorns in it as well. When I arrived in Nigeria, I was like, is this the right choice? Have I made the right decision or not? Because it was a very different environment. It was the first time I came out of my country to work in a different country, and I knew that for the next 6 months this is going to be my home. And of course, there were the common concerns of, like, maybe getting mugged or maybe getting attacked or whatnot. So but anyway, I think over a period of time, as time went by, I started to get my get my comfort around me. There was a team of about 12 people from 12 different nationalities who I was working with, from Canada, Uganda, Togo, Kenya, of course Nigerians, some from America, some from Europe. So this was like, although I went to Nigeria, I was working with Nigerians, the Africans, as well as I was working with a lot of other nationalities, and I think that was a very amazing experience. And it was at first a bit of shock because how to behave, what to say, what is not right to say, and whatnot. But I think there are three things that I learned, working in any kind of multicultural environment. Is that one is that definitely be aware about what is right, what is wrong. Where should you draw the boundary, so to say. Definitely have empathy around. If certain culture does not allow you to do something, just respect it. There's no need to challenge it every time. There might be some reason for it and whatnot. And obviously, as and when these people more and more better, is when we can start becoming more and more relaxed with them. Because at the end of it, you and I and everybody on this listening this entire thing is at core the same person. We want to be happy, we want to be well fed, we want to have great kids, we want to travel, we want to expand our horizons. So everybody is the same person. I think there is a bit of a painting that is done, or a filtering that is done on people with cultures and with certain different things. But respect that, and obviously once you become more familiar with them, just be yourself, right? So yeah, that was my first experience. And the job that I was doing also was so amazing. This is the first time in my life I was doing something for the betterment of people. So this is again an example of how data analysis helped me do good for the world, right? So uh, Accenture, which is a company, was actually a funder along with the government of Nigeria, and it was helping a lot of farmers in the middle belt of Nigeria to help produce more output and whatnot. So my job over there was to use data analysis and research to find out what kind of policies are working and what kind of policies need improvement for the farmers to have the best possible results. And my entire study was about what to do better, what to start, what to stop, and what to keep doing, right? And this was presented back to the funder organization, to the government of Nigeria. And I know for a fact that a lot of income levels went up, people became self-sufficient, and it is a bit addictive, I would say. Doing good is something which is very dear to my heart as well. And the moment my Nigeria assignment ended, I was asked to go to Guyana and do a similar assignment, and then within a blink of an eye, I was like, of course, I definitely have to go. And as soon as I was back, I flew to Guyana in South America. Had the most wonderful experience working on a similar setting. The difference here is that I was working with a pen and paper under a forest tree and whatnot, and versus where I was in India, we were using laptops and doing our surveys and everything over there. So of course the soul of research was the same, but the way we were doing research was different in different countries. And I'm so glad that I got this opportunity. And I would say that is a turning point of my career. That exposure of 1 year was about 3 years of experience, of great work. And I think that's what propelled my career a little bit. Yeah.
Oh wow. Okay. Okay. I love that. I love that. The thing is, well, the thing is this. Where one of the main thing I always say when it comes to this, when I'm hosting this, is the importance of story. Is because, well, people are different in all walks of life, but the thing is that what we never notice is that stories actually bond people, because we never because certain cultures and certain aspects actually share certain similarities, but the thing is that not being there personally, we do not know about it until then. When we see it, we experience that, it's like, hey, okay, there's actually similar stories to that.
Right.
And the thing is that every one of us always want some of the common things, like maybe we want to be well fed, we want to be clothed, we want to live under a roof. This is something that we all share, but the thing is that, well, it is interpreted in a different way. Maybe sometimes it's because the way some certain people talk, and, well, maybe for us we don't realize it. Maybe the way we approach things may be too aggressive, and some people may not appreciate it. So yeah, I'm glad you mentioned about this though.
Right.
What would you recommend though when let's say you are maybe let's pick let's pick some nationalities. Yeah, maybe you have a member of five team with Singaporean, Indonesian, American, German, and Canada. By the way, these are all five of my highest fan base. So
Right.
there's nothing biased about that.
Right.
So yeah, let's say you are leading a team comprising of these five individuals. Though, is there a specific thing that you want to implement? What would you recommend, or is there a certain rules or maybe a certain kind of respect that you want to implement? Maybe a certain kind of guideline to it in order to manage the different personalities and different kind of culture and personalities. Yeah.
Right. Okay. That's a very loaded question and on the spot. So okay. I mean, regardless of nationalities, I would say that for any team to succeed, it's teamwork at the end of the day, right? So you have
Right.
to have camaraderie and collaboration, right? One thing that some people fail to understand is that on day one they expect things to be like, all right, let's go, full throttle into the market and and do great work. I think that is not the reality. It is a process. It's a journey. So you have to look at building team dynamics. You have to look at building, gaining trust, and giving trust back as well. So I would say I would start super easy, just having informal conversations around who they are, break the ice a little bit in terms of who I am, where I come from, and have everybody share the same thing. Add a bit of humor to it. The element always helps ease up people, and the more people interact and more people sort of start keeping their guards down,
Right.
is when real connections start to happen, right? So you can't obviously command respect. It has to come. So obviously once your team is all connected and whatever, is when you start leading by example, at a point of time. And there will, and just wait for occasions. There'll be time when somebody will need help. That is your chance to rise to the occasion and just do something for them. And they will feel that, okay, fine, this guy has my back and whatnot. So I think it's a journey, regardless of nationalities, if it's Singaporean, Indonesian, or whatever. Ultimately, if you have your entire objective laid out, if you have your style of operating communicated as well, people will come around to it. And I've had people in Singapore. My first team was an Indian and a Malaysian, and two Singaporeans, and that team was a very tight team, I would say. Uh, and we're still in touch. I still help them. I still mentor them once in a while. So
Right.
yeah, just so to summarize, I would say start slow, get to know them better, earn trust, and go full throttle once you have the team dynamics in place. Just an example, I would say that when our team had a little bit of budget to do some fun activity, a lot of us sort of thought that let's do something awesome, and we took a trip to Batam from Singapore, and did a lot of go karting, team building exercises and whatnot. So that is something that they still remember. And in fact, when I left that company, one of the best experiences that they had was that the team bonding session. So that stays with them. Not necessarily a bad day or a good day. So focus on creating the team bonding, give and receive trust, and you're good to go, I would say.
All right. Okay.
Does that
Okay.
answer your question, or does it help?
Absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. Thank you for sharing your experience on that.
Sure.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Yeah, that is something that I appreciate too. Well, starting slowly because the thing is that when I moved from Singapore to Indonesia, the experience was not an easy thing because
Right.
let's say my first ever go kart ride. Within the first 5 minutes, the driver asked me, "Hello, how are you? Where are you from? Are you married? And have you eaten?" 5 minutes. That was something that I was really terrified of, is because it is too intrusive, too personal, and well, with all due respect, at that time, well, it's not that I wasn't trying to be unfriendly, but the thing is that well, I don't know you, and at that particular moment, I'm not really in the mood to open up to talk to you or befriend you. All I want was just to get to the
Right.
destination that I programmed. It's terrifying for me.
Mhm.
So yeah, thank you for at least. Well, the thing is that I guess starting slow is always good, and we also need to keep note of a certain sense of respect because some people may not have that kind of boundaries. Sometimes
Right.
people can be too closed off, but sometimes people can be too open, so we don't know about it. But at
Right.
least when you start slowly, you actually get to know these individuals better.
Right. No, I think I will just add to that point, and I was actually
Yeah.
having lunch today and discussing on similar lines, and I don't know how the topic came along, but many a times, when you are say traveling and you are obviously you look different from the people who live there. So there was a time I went to a very rural place in Nigeria, and some people ran away because they have never seen somebody like me, because that they thought it was a ghost or something. So, do I get offended with it? I definitely not. Do I find it amusing? Actually, I do. So it's not about that they don't understand. I think we just have to sort of keep a bit of tolerance in the sense that it's okay. It's just that they're a bit they have been living in a certain condition, and you can't blame them for not knowing how to approach certain people or certain this thing. So I think play along, have fun, just say yes, I'm married with 20 children or whatnot, and I've eaten so much, and yes, I want to play. I want to now go to the go-kart and whatnot. So I'm just saying that, keep a bit of tolerance, and educate along the way if you can. Ultimately, it's everybody is not many people mean harm in the first go itself. So majority of the world is good people. So yeah.
Absolutely. Strangers are just friends that you just haven't talked to and haven't met yet, right?
Exactly. See, you and me, right, Calvin?
Yeah, this is interesting.
Right.
Okay, okay.
Cool.
All right. Okay. So, well, this is something I want to ask. If somebody who is exposed to a life outside of their passport country, though, do you ever experience a learning opportunity? Yeah. In this show, I haven't used it in a bit, but we don't like to use the term failure for something that you learn when you just entered a new kind of horizons, when you just enter a new kind of environment. Have you experienced a new kind of learning opportunity when you entered a new kind of environment?
I mean, I don't know where the list begins for this one. I mean, I can take 5 hours minimum to talk about it. Actually, no, absolutely. I think quite a lot of things, I would say, and I don't know. I'm just thinking where to pinpoint. I will just talk about a learning opportunity which was from a very personal point of view. And this was in Nigeria. It was a weekend, and I traveled from Abuja, which is the capital country, to a place called Marakia. Marakia is a bit of rural village, and we had another volunteer who was working there, and we were just having fun, and in the market, and we heard like a lot of music and dancing and celebrations happening, and there was this one like a dome around which people were dancing, right? A small wooden dome in an open field, and people are dancing, drinking, and singing tunes and whatnot. And obviously, David was from Canada, and I was obviously I was also different looking as compared to the locals over there. And they're like, what, come along, let's show your dance moves and whatnot. And we were just like, fair enough, let's just go. So we participated, and we were like, dancing around the dome and whatnot. And then we went to this store to buy something, and then this guy is like, hey, where are you guys from and whatnot. I was like, oh, we are from here and there, we're working here as volunteers. And we asked, like, what is the occasion, that is this somebody's wedding, or is it just like you gather up on a weekend to do stuff? And they said, actually there was a 93-year-old woman who was our grandmother, who died, and we are celebrating the death of her full life that she has lived, right? She did not die of anything else. She died of old age, and she lived a very wonderful life. And that dome that you were dancing around was actually her in a casket, so to say. And I was like, wow, that is interesting. And I think it's a very different perspective. We, in many cultures, we think of death as something which is disappointing, or something which is very, very bad. And of course it is bad, obviously. But there's a different outlook towards it as well. Like, if somebody has lived their life fully and well, then we should celebrate as well. Obviously there is pain, but there's a different perspective. So I think that is one learning that I keep with me, and I hope that stays as well. And more than anything else, I think there are different other learnings as well, from professional wise as well. Like, how do you do a training when you have different people? So For example, there was a time when and I generally tend to speak a bit faster than usual, and when I was doing a training in South America, somebody just said, like, just go a little bit slower, and I was like, okay, fair enough. And I went like, this is the result from our findings and whatnot, and I got the best feedback. They went and told my manager in Guyana that this was the first time we understood what this data exercise really means, and how it impacts us and whatnot. So I think just fine tuning those things here and there, just getting a little bit of awareness in terms of how people are and what are they used to, and you're good to go, I think. So yeah, I think a ton of learning, I would say. I'm a product of international exposure, and not just from traveling and working in these countries, but I've been to over 50 nations, and every time I go somewhere, there is a small culture shock, there's a small learning opportunity, and that's what makes me who I am today. So yeah, I think, no discounting there on the learning bit.
All right. Okay. You want to know a little trivia? Is that 50 nation is actually not the most in my show.
Sorry?
The record on my show is somebody who has visited 150 nations.
Oh wow, absolutely.
Yeah.
That's the dream, man.
That's a dream. But you will definitely get there someday. Definitely.
I was hoping to do a
When
lot
you
more in
start
2020,
traveling,
but
just to let you guys know, it's been reported in Straits Times earlier in Singapore that travel will restart by June. So hopefully that will happen soon. Because as somebody as I miss my second home, Singapore, badly, and every National Day I sang the home, which, because that's how much I regard Singapore as a home, and I can't be there. I haven't been home for now by 2 years, so that is something that's really, really, really tiring, really, really stressful, and hopefully we can restart traveling, I guess, and we can carry on with our lives, which has been stuck for by now. It's going to be hopefully not a second year.
right. No, just hang in there, buddy. I think a lot of people around the world are stuck in some way or the other. But
Thank
yeah, I
you.
mean, I hope the travel opens. Even if it does, do exercise caution, wear a mask, try and get vaccinated. This is just my personal opinion, and
Absolutely,
try and
absolutely.
keep safe distance. Yeah.
Absolutely. All right. So, okay. I actually just want to ask though, how much has your perspectives changed from living outside of India now? From all the countries that you had worked with, you visited, you are now in Singapore. And Singapore and India, India, I've actually visited India once. I went to New Delhi and Jaisalmer. They it's like two completely different worlds. New Delhi is a wonderful city, and Jaisalmer is a little bit more rural. But the thing is that the people are extremely friendly. And the thing is that one of the trend about developing country is that there's this vast differences between certain areas. And Singapore is a developed country. It is it's a metropolitan city. So what was the for yourself? Yeah, what
Right.
was? Oh, sorry.
Go ahead. Go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. Yeah. So, how do you feel there? How do you feel has your mindset changed though from living in India, which is a developing country, to places like in South America, West Africa, and then a developed country like Singapore?
Right.
And let's say for a data analyst themselves, how do
Right.
you feel being directly immersed in in the actual environment will be beneficial for their job? Because a lot of time is that well we tend to study trends from data, like from surveys, for example, but the thing is that the level of accuracy is it's always you can never have a fixed and accurate result, right? What if you yourself as the analyst is directly immersed in the environment, in the surroundings itself, then you reflect, oh, okay, maybe this thing is not as accurate as we would have wanted. This is something that I personally felt. How do you feel for a data analyst to be directly immersed within the consumer pool to be able to do their job a lot better?
Right. Okay, so there are two different questions. I'll just go with the first one and then I'll seek
Yeah.
some clarification on the second one and then answer that. So yeah, I think from a mindset perspective, and you're right, like, the three countries that I've worked before, India, Nigeria, and Guyana, are either developing or, Guyana is a very different place, man. Like, there are 7 provinces in Guyana in which you can't go by road. You have to take a small flight, and so it is that not connected to with each other, from a province point of view. So it's very different, I would say. But I think the mindset is very different, from where I began to where I am right now. And Singapore, as you correctly said, is a melting pot of a lot of cultures, especially the Asian culture, I would say. One of my comfort food is now chicken rice, nasi lemak. I love Korean food and also the
I hope
Vietnamese
people
food.
don't judge me, but I actually, out of every single local dish in Singapore, chicken rice is actually the least of my favorite.
Oh no, I changed my houses because there's a nice chicken rice place next to my house. So I'm a big fan. Yeah. So yeah. Anyway, I mean, in essence, I think of course there is differences, and as you said, right, India as well, Delhi versus Jaisalmer is a very different place, but I think there is learning in both of these places as well. So you get exposed to different kind of people, different kind of environment, and which is what happened to me as well. What has happened right now, I would say, is that it's the mindset is very this is a very commonly used word, like it's a global mindset, but there's nothing like a global mindset, I would say. What I think I have right now is that I've lost uh, you know preconceived notions about things. I've lost inhibitions in that sense. So I'm more devoid of any kind of paint or filter, in terms of my thinking. There's a sense of acknowledgement that this world is a humongous place, and and what's right and what's not right is not something that you decide. It's just out there, right? So I think that's a very big shift in perception, I would say. That I had a certain thinking around things before, and now those things don't really matter, to each is their own, I would say, right? So definitely it's a world of differences. Learn to accept differences, agree to disagree, and in the end the differences don't matter, because we all want the same things in the end, right? So as you said, like shelter, food, clothing, love, compassion, and whatnot. So all in all, I think Singapore is been a wonderful place. All my experiences which were to do with outside of my working country, or sorry, living country or passport country, have been awesome. I like to call India as my Janma Bhumi, which means the place I was born, and Singapore or Nigeria and Guyana as my karma bhumi, the place that feeds or bring foods to my table, food to the table. So both have a very special place in my heart, and I'm a product of both, where I was born and where I work. So yeah, there's no. I mean, this is the difference, I would say. In the way I see it, I feel as patriotic as you feel on Singapore National Day. I feel as bad as any Nigerian would see if something is going wrong in Nigeria, and I feel for the country. I'm a big advocate of Guyana tourism as well, and of course I'm definitely empathetic about the issues in my country as well, which is India. So doesn't matter. People are the same. People are everywhere, and yeah, just one life, one love. Yeah.
All right. All right. All right. Oh,
All right. So
yes.
second question, if you
Yes.
can tell me, yeah. I think what you were asking was, like, if somebody is a data analyst themselves, and when
Right.
they dive into the data, and they see that something is
A little bit context to that, yeah. The
okay.
reason why I asked that is that, well, we all tend to learn from what we see, what we hear, and what others tell us of a certain things. And well, if you see a lot in movies, I think the stereotype for data analyst is that you are somehow always looking at numbers through a laptop. I think, I don't know how correct is this, but I hope it's not that way. I mean, the thing is that, we all now this is your career, so I definitely know a lot better to it. So why I ask this is that, what do you feel if that a data analyst maybe is directly on the field when they experience the product that has been out in the market? It's like when they test it out themselves, or yeah, whether this is something that would work, whether they personally, since they are now acting in the mindset of a consumer, do you think that they are now, maybe they, based on the research, whether it's as accurate or maybe as they themselves as a consumer, they would have wanted things to be done in a certain different way.
Right, that's the researcher's dilemma, I would say, right? So many times you go with and this is again goes back to my point as well, that what you think is right and what you think is perfect might not really be the case. However, if you find something, say for example, we are testing a product and you add a new feature to it, and for me as a user, I would think that okay, this is awesome. But if you do a testing of say user research and it comes out that majority of people in Singapore or say Indonesia or India do not like this feature and they want to go back to the previous feature, so to say. So what happens in that case is that obviously we are defined by the world that we live in. So we are like a frog in a well, right?
Right.
But there is a world in which the well is living, right? I mean, it is situated. So there's a frog, there is a well, and there is a world, right? So just like you see that behind, yeah, like so the tiny dot of that and a fraction of that dot is what you are and what you think, right? And if you're doing, you will be surprised that I was doing some research for Asian countries, for North American countries, and for European countries, and just simple habits of like ordering in food, or occasions to celebrate birthday parties, to celebrate parties and whatnot, is so different. You might think that this is right your way, but it's just so different. So if you are in the mix of that audience, and if you think something is not right, I would, as a researcher or as a data analyst, test it once and see that if it's really the case. And sometimes you can always supplement the data with a lot of like a couple of different interviews. So for example, if you say that this product is going to work, this feature is going to work, I would say, what, Calvin, I have a quick favor to ask. Do you think this makes sense? And tell me why does it make sense. So then I was like, what, now it makes sense, because I am somebody who's a heavy user of this feature, but somebody is not. So I think just to get that context, there are different ways to sort of once you find the information, to get more and more information on the back of it, right? The why behind it. So yeah, so which is where I think at Nielsen as well, and right now at Qualtrics as well, a lot of my work depends around telling the customers or my clients that what is happening in the market. That's good to know, but why is it happening as well? It's the combination of these two things that makes insights more holistic, and more actionable, so to say. So yeah, I think does that answer your question in terms of how you tackle that?
It is.
Awesome.
It is. All right then. Yeah, that's actually my last question. So before I end, maybe I just thank the audience who has been tuning in. And also a special shout out to Mr. Ivan Rianto Gunawan, who actually leave a like. So thank you so much for tuning in. So for those of you who could be interested to try out a podcast, there's also a $10 credit for you for StreamYard, which is the software that I am using. And of course, there's also a credit for Canva. It is actually the software that I use to create the graphic. If you guys are interested to try something new, what I'm doing could be something that interests you, do check in the description box. And last but definitely not the least, I definitely need to thank Siddarth for his time today, for making the time, and also for his insight. So yeah, Siddarth, is there anything else you want to tell to the audience?
No, I mean, thank you so much. If you're listening to this, I appreciate your time. Thanks, Calvin, as well, for having me here. I always love, connecting with more and more people. And if you find this insights meaningful, and if you want to have a chat, find me on Instagram or LinkedIn, and happy to drive conversations. So thanks once again, and stay safe, everyone.